What's up with the YouTube? Just want to speak a little bit on my channel, Um, there's going to be some further subject matters coming, but I'm delving just, at the beginning of all this YouTube stuff, so I'm just getting used to it, you know what I mean? Um, not really much of a person that speaks on camera, none of that, but, so I just feel it's beneficial to, get things out there, things that might be able to help somebody. Might not help everybody, but if it can help one person out there, hey, so be it. Because I know there's a lot of people that are in that system, a lot of people going to that system, destined, and I just believe that it's, you know, necessary to have some type of educational source out there, that people can, actually look at. Um, when I was a kid growing up, so I gave a little bit on 1977, which I want to do a little bit more on because I really feel that those times influenced myself and how I came up, you know, being being of a being of a being of a mixed race. I you know had to go through different types of um, stages, like, you know, feeling if I was black enough, feeling if I was brown enough, I mean, and then feeling if I was even, had white in me at all, because it was like, oh, you're black and Mexican, but I'm also white too, my grandmother's white, my granny Annie's white, like, and I loved her dearly, rest in peace. My grandfather's a black man, and my, uh, grandfather's on my mother's side Mexican, which isn't really pure nothing. you know, it's a nationality. But so having that type of background, there were things that I went through emotionally, and then like with my cousin, he kind of, he's from East Oakland, so it was like the way he was towards me, what I mean? Like, it's not something that messed me up or anything like that, but it was just something that made me feel different, made me feel different that, okay, I wasn't a part of, That's how I was feeling at the time, as a child, that, like, I felt like I was, like, separated somehow because I was mixed with these different nationalities, so, but I love my heritage, I love my culture, I love, who I am and what I've been through, because if I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be able to speak upon it. But, like, as a young kid, I didn't have, everything. I had a lot. I wasn't a kid wanting, I had a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food in my mouth, and as my dad's only child at first, had everything that, pretty much I wanted as a kid. I was into Superman. Superman was my deal. I used to have, when the hair, was lustrous, I had the Superman curl, felt it gave me these superpowers or something like that. So I had Superman and everything. But I was a pretty good kid. But there were things that took place as a kid that made me rebel, even as a child. And I always hated rejection as a kid. I never liked rejection as a kid. So when, my mother, she went her own way. So I kind of felt that foremost rejection. She went and did what she did. She was a young woman. And I understand. I mean, I understand now, but never really understand why she'd go chase men, and then wouldn't have her own child, but life is tough, life is difficult, I mean, it's tough taking care of yourself, much less trying to take care of kids, so I can understand that. So, as a child, then there was like, my dad's wife that passed away recently, rest in peace, Sheila. Um, she didn't really want me around because she couldn't have kids. So seeing that as a child, that really she didn't want me around like that, it kind of was, it was upsetting. I mean, it was hurtful as a kid, to be rejected. So there was that. You know, but I always had my father in my life. My dad was always there for me, always took care of me. So um, later down the line a little bit, like as I got into my mid ages, I had some sisters. My dad had uh, three girls with my stepmother, one of my stepmothers, and my mother had my brother and my sister um, from some other man, which I'll get into later because I only got so much time on this. So that's just a little bit I wanted to go over, in the foremost, of my upbringing, the influences. So the things that were transpiring from the times that were affecting me, the multicultural differences that were affecting me, the rejection that was affecting me. And these are a lot of things that have both positive and negative to them. I mean, the negative of it depressing me and upsetting me, but the positive of, coming from a multicultural background, knowing different cultures, being to go different places, talk with different people, know the lingo, at the same time, know the get down, man. That's what has had me accepted and am accepted in many places because there's a lot of people that I got love for and they got love for me, and now that I'm on my cooking thing and doing things differently, a lot of people are more supportive, way more supportive than before because nobody wants to get involved in any other, issues. And while I was involved in those things, a lot of people didn't want to be involved with what I was involved in. And I was putting that foremost. So, that's a later subject. So these things right here started in my youth, and then I got spanked by my stepmother, but a long time ago, like that was the first thing that kind of like my feeling of betrayal. I felt like that woman shouldn't be hit me. I was never hit by my father when I was at the age of 4, 5, 6. He never hit me, none of that, and and then might have spanked me every so often, like when I was 6 because I started getting rowdy, but when she spanked me, it was like a different kind of hurt, it was like a betrayal, like because I was always first in my father's life, so I felt betrayed. I felt like he put some stranger before his own blood, his own son, so I know what I felt. I know the things that anger me. It's like the things that make you happy, you don't remember a lot of stuff. But the things that made you angry for some reason, it brands it. It brands it in your head. Brands it on your soul. So I know how I felt on certain things. Being frightened. Those things brand on you. You remember those. Things that anger you. It brands on you. So I mean, there were a lot of happy times which were great, which were great and which are great. But, it's just those times of hurt that really branded on my soul for me. And I don't know, maybe for other youth rebelling too, there's things, those times that branded on their soul that made them feel the way they felt, that they needed to go out and do things, you know what I mean? Those are the environments, so that's just the basic. Foremost, speak on a little bit of the first portion of my life and my upbringing. There's going to be much more that I'm speaking on. It's just getting comfortable with this and putting it out there, man. That's all. So, Yeah, so if you can, relate on that, chew on that a minute, like, what a person, you know, feels and goes through, how that's put on that circuit board, of an individual coming up. And then you start to see the pattern of where these things start to affect a human being and what people might be able to do different, you know. What people might be able to identify is going on. So that's why I'm speaking on it, because I believe that's important, really caring about the youth in that manner, and then their upbringing, because still, there's a lot of youth that don't have their parents, don't have a father, might not have a mother, only have a father, might have both parents, but both parents aren't really present, Like when I was working up at the Sugar Bowl, I worked at the 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 Olympics, the ski Olympics, and a lot of their parents mostly gone, man. They're at the ski school living, and most of their parents is gone. You know what I mean? So it's never they really, with the parents. Parents got a lot of money come through. The only time they visit is every so often. That's gotta have an effect on a child's emotions. So those were the effects on mine, and then you'll start to see the pattern, because this is the pattern that I've identified and that I've seen and that people should understand. 100.